What's up YouTube, ODST General back again, and today guys we had a number of updates come out for Warthunder, actually technically yesterday, but I haven't had a chance to read through any of this stuff yet. We got a roadmap of sorts apparently, and a list of economy changes, or at least plans for economy changes from the Warthunder development team. Now, before we get into any of that, and I just had this pulled up, and I must have accidentally closed it down. I had Steam charts pulled up for Warthunder, and I wanted to really quick just cover the Warthunder strike, because we hadn't actually done that when that had happened. So the Warthunder strike was supposed to have happened going from like the 25th of May onto, I guess, presumably like the rest of that week. It seems to have failed. I'll be honest with you guys. If we look at the numbers here, we have the I don't think you can. Oh wait, yeah. Well, you can kind of see. You can't see my cursor, but you can see the tick moving on the thing. So if we look at the week prior, you know, you've got 30,000 players. You know, 70,000 at the highs, or at least pretty close to that numbers. And then it really, honestly, it starts to climb higher. If you look, and you may or not be able to tell, but it actually climbs higher the week that the strikes were supposed to happen. And I think there's a couple reasons for this. Ash kind of covered this too when he did his video on it. One is that was a holiday weekend in the US, so a lot of kids and adults were off of school and work that weekend for a 3 or 4 day weekend in some cases. And two is a lot of kids are actually just getting out of school this time of year. So the player numbers are going up as people are getting, you know, off of school and work. They have kind of dropped back down. Now, the thing is if we look at May, you do see a drop from April to May. And then again, over the last 30 days, there's, at least at this point right now, it is a lower number of peak players. But the thing is that that drop, I don't think it's related to the strike at all. Because if you go down to April 2022, you see 75,000 players, which is lower. It's a fair bit lower than what we had this April, but then it drops going into May and June. And June wasn't dropped from May, but it was still a drop down from what they had in April. It kind of drops and stays down throughout the summer. And I'm guessing we're just going to see that trend repeated this summer, but it's going to be higher overall numbers. So honestly, yeah, the strike seems to have failed. Yeah, it's kind of a little unfortunate to see that have fallen through, just because I do think that maybe that loses some measure of leverage against Gaijin in the terms of like the economy changes that we're all looking for. Even the players that continue to play, I'm sure, all want to see economy changes, but because no one actually participated in this strike, it seems, or at least very few people did. It's going to be questionable at best, you know, how committed Gaijin's going to be. Hopefully, you know, all the Steam review bombing, which has also been reversed, largely, you know, will be taken into account, and Gaijin will actually make these changes going forwards. So let's go ahead and let's read these other news posts. I haven't actually had a chance to read these yet, guys, so this will be my first time reading through it. So hopefully it shouldn't take too long, but we'll see. After your feedback and suggestions, we would like to show you the development roadmap of Warthunder for the next few months. So I think this is actually the first time we've had a roadmap like this, too. These are not all of the changes and suggestions that we would like to introduce to the game according to your wishes and comments, but as it seems to us, the main ones. We will not be able to do more in the near future, and most likely after the implementation of the roadmap, you may have other suggestions, comments, and priorities that may change in general. Therefore, we would plan to have another session of collecting feedback in the fall, after the work is completed. This is a really large roadmap, and we probably won't be able to complete some points in time. Besides the proposed changes for being significant, this is the most essential change to the game's economy in 9 years. Additionally, it is being rolled out at a radically expedited pace in light of the current circumstances. Therefore, please perceive this roadmap as an experimental exploratory endeavor. In the interest of transparency, should it turn out that changes outlined herein, whether in part or in their entirety, cause damage to the economic well-being of Warthunder that poses a risk to the further development of the game, we may decide to modify or roll back some or all of these changes. On the other hand, some of the things may be completed before time. In these cases, we won't wait for the scheduled date and deployment improvements as soon as they are ready. Please note that the roadmap points might be subject to change. Changes to Silver Lion mechanics. So this is probably going to be a big one for you guys, and I suspect we'll see more of this in the economy revision one that they posted. But improve the balance of Silver Lions, increasing the reward multiplier and reducing the cost of repairing vehicles to make all vehicles break even for the average player, including without a premium account. Obviously, huge if true. You know, we'll have to wait and see, because again, they don't have details on how they're coming to this at least yet, but hopefully they break that down during this. There is a plan in detail thing, so maybe we'll click that and take a look here, but we gotta get through a lot of stuff. Calculation of the economic parameters of each vehicle from average indicators instead of vehicle statistics for all vehicles of the same type and one battle rating. The average statistical indicator will be calculated, after which they will be used to calculate rewards and repair costs for each vehicle in accordance with its economic rank and position in the rank. Improvements to premium accounts. If your total cost exceeds your income, you will be compensated after the battle, ensuring that your Silver Line tally for the match remains at 0 unless you have team killed. So that's pretty good. So that's basically saying, hey, if you're a premium player, the only way you're going to lose money is if you're team killing, which is good. I think that makes a lot of sense, because I mean, you're paying Gaijin, right? So you're not losing money, you're not being punished, while you're also literally paying them real cash to play the game, to grind out all this stuff, right? Adding free backups to newly purchased premium vehicles. Like I said during my previous video, I think I covered them talking about this stuff, and yeah, I think that's a great idea. You know, incentivizes people to stay in the game longer with their premiums if they only have 1 or 2 high tier. I think maybe it should be extended to squadron vehicles, but hopefully just putting this on premiums will maybe like incentivize people to go after the use of these backups and stuff a little bit more frequently. Dynamic repair cost reduction. The shorter the lifetime, the cheaper the repair, without changing the max repair cost of date of feature introduction. So, shorter the lifetime. I'm not quite sure what they mean on this one. Is it the like less time you have the vehicle, the cheaper it is, and it gets more expensive to maintain the vehicle the longer you have it? I'm not clear on that one, guys. That seems, I mean, in like terms of real repair costs, like that would make sense, but I'm not sure that's what Gaijin means there. So keep reading here and see what they have to say. Capture point reward for vehicles that fail to survive until capture completion. Okay, so this is huge. So I'm pretty sure this used to be a thing in Warthunder, and they took it out, and that was one of the things that some people were kind of upset about. You didn't hear too much about it with the economy changes, but I actually had some friends griping to me about the capture points stuff not too long before all of this economy stuff started. So I think this is great. Yeah, having all the capture points stuff was definitely a point of frustration for some folks, so I'm glad to see that. Free repair destroyed by an ally. That's great. You know, I know that they had their reasons for charging both players for team kills, but to be honest, I don't think intentional team kills to circumvent some of the game's like money making aspects was really intended. I never really saw anything like that. The only time I've seen like one occasion where teammates were team killing each other, and that was literally just so they could get one of the challenges for doing like X amount of repairs during one of the things for the battle pass, and they had to get like something like 20 repairs or something. So they were just sitting there shooting each other and getting damage so that they could like repair each other. Detailed calculation of the reward in the mission results window, as well as in the private message window after the battle ends. So this is just giving more details to players for how the rewards were received, which I think is great. I know I occasionally like going back and seeing how I received all the rewards and what all I did in the battle, so I think that's good. Changes to progression and research points. So we're getting out of the economy and going into the actual grinding aspect, which is another big one. A little less of the focal point of a lot of the stuff, but definitely a big point for a lot of people here. Condensing of tech trees by grouping of vehicles and decreasing required research points to vehicles and groups by 2 times. So Yeah, I think they're just talking about foldering more vehicles, or at least refoldering vehicles that maybe they unfolded. Um, I think this is great. I don't necessarily think that like different vehicles need to be folded, and depending on what they mean by condensing, because obviously one of the other things we've asked for is BRD compression. But I think that's great, not having to like research out the same vehicles, or near the same vehicles with like this one's got like a 5 higher power horse engine or something. Reduction of the research and purchase cost of rank 6 and rank 7 aircraft. Okay. Skill bonuses and RP. Extra reward for a certain number of kills in a session. The required kill number as well as bonus value are determined by the game mode and vehicle rank. For example, the approximate value for a rank 3 arcade ground kills are 3 kills plus 15%, 6 kills 30%, 9 kills 50%. So you're getting rewarded for doing better, which makes sense. Detailed calculation of the reward in the mission results window, as well as in the private messages after the battle ends. Okay. Again, just kind of like the economy changes for that. It's fantastic news. Research bonuses for new nations. After obtaining a top vehicle of one nation, such a vehicle will be clearly marked in the research tree. A bonus is added to the research vehicles of this type in other nations, where the top tier vehicles have not yet been received. The bonus is given for 3 battles every day for each nation separately and depends on the research vehicle. Approximate values were rank 4 15%, rank 5 25%, and rank 6 35%, and ranks 7 and 8 are 50%. And this will be the 4th update of the year, October, November. So this is actually really awesome, and this is something I haven't even seen really anybody talk about. But one of the things I've always kind of griped about, and I didn't even talk about this in my videos, is that there is so many vehicles in Warthunder, right? And this is why I never quite understood how bad the grind is, especially as it's gotten worse over time, because we've gotten more and more and more vehicles, and it's like, man, I want to just play. I would love to play like French. I'd love to play, Israelis and all this other stuff, like even the Chinese and stuff. But it's like some of these are like so similar to the U.S. It's like it already takes me so much time grinding out the U.S. Why am I going to spend time, doing that for other nations? Like it takes me so long. I'm just barely keeping up with the U.S. as it is. Putting out bonuses to incentivize playing more nations is really going to, I think, one, encourage players to maybe find new vehicles that they like, but it's also going to meet Gaijin's goal that they said they had, which is to have a larger variety of vehicles. And I think that's going to incentivize players to actually go out and mess around with vehicles that they may not have otherwise messed with if you give them bonuses and research and make that faster. I think that's fantastic. And, if you're doing that with, like, hey, you have to get to a top-tier vehicle to get there, I mean, it still requires them to play probably a fair bit to get to that point. And, you're limiting it per the day, which I think is perfectly fine. But, yeah, I think that's great news. Revision of the naval progression. So, I guess we'll have to see. That's really, really vague. As one of, like, the 5 or 6 naval players, I think that's probably going to be a good thing. I've always had kind of mixed feelings on the naval tech tree split, because on the one hand, I know a lot of players really just didn't want to play as PT boats. They just wanted to get straight in and play as larger vessels like destroyers and cruisers and battleships and stuff. On the other hand, players such as myself who started off as PT boats, like I already had like a ton of the PT boats. I already had cruisers and stuff when they made that change. The issue I've always had with that is that PT boats, while not always useful, in some cases are very useless, do have a number of battles, a fair number of battles, where they are essential in winning or losing the game, because a lot of the larger ships don't get to the points nearly fast enough. So if you get into a PT boat, you can go capture 1 or 2 of the points long before any of the larger ships can get to it, with the exception of, float planes and stuff if they get launched. So I think this is potentially going to be great news, though, because this would make grinding easier. So players who are looking to maybe experiment with PT boats can continue to grind out playing the larger ships, and they don't have to like go out and get a reserve PT boat to do that. If they decide to like, hey, I've been playing larger ships for a while, I've gotten 4 or 5 destroyers unlocked, or I've even gotten up to cruisers, and I'm like, hey, I noticed these guys in the PT boats are changing the course of matches. Maybe we should I should be driving those too. So I think that could be great. But again, this is really vague here, so we'll have to wait and see. Now I'm getting off on a tangent, so let's keep going. Other progression updates. Revision of the use and obtaining of fire prevention equipment repair sets for tanks and ships, as well as countermeasures and aircraft. Update in June 2023. FPE of ground vehicles will be split into default for single-use fire extinguishing and an improved type, which requires module research and is capable of extinguishing fires twice. FPE of naval vessels will also be split into default and improved. The default one will take longer to put out the fire with no limit on the number of uses. Okay, that's great. I love hearing this. Parts and ground vehicles, tool sets, and naval vessels will also be split into default and improved. Default tools available without modification research will field repair of all modules, not only mobility ones, until partial functionality, similar to arcade battle repair mechanics. Standard countermeasures will become available immediately to researched aircraft. Options such as chaff only, improved flares, mixed flares prior will only be available by researching the module. Additional options such as BOL pods or additional chaff pods will remain available by module research. So that's fantastic news. I love all of what I just read there. I do want to reread the parts and tool sets one because it says will be split in default, improved. Default tools available without field repair all modules now. So I'm curious what the improved ones, because yeah, they don't say what the improved ones do for the ground vehicles. So I'm kind of curious if the default ones repair everything, will it be like the FPE where you get multiple repairs, or is it going to be faster repairs or a combination thereof? I think that's great. I think that's a good way of doing it, and I think that's something that the players can be happy with too, or at least most players. I'm certainly much happier with that. Mission points reward for repair and fire extinguishing assist of allies. Okay, that's good news. Helicopter research progression by playing ground vehicles. Oh, thank you. A player will be able to select either tank or helicopter to channel the research points in ground battle. So here's the thing. Researching helicopters at one point in time wasn't terribly bad. You just had to do like the PvP mode, like the PvP enduring conflict, and then KA-50s and 52s got introduced, and that kind of ruined it for most other helicopters, and so people started like not playing that mode anymore, right? And so then they introduced a PvE mode, and no one likes the PvE mode because like you're still getting killed by like the bots and stuff, and then like if you're in like a low tier helicopter, you can barely keep up with the guys in much higher tier helicopters who are getting to all the PvE stuff before you can get close. And it's still like a costly mode to play and everything. It wasn't great. When they removed the PvP mode, my helicopter research ground to like a halt. So like the one helicopter I still have left on the tech tree for the US, it just basically wasn't getting done. So I think that's a fantastic change. It was, again, something I didn't ask for, but I'm really, really happy for it because that's where I play my helicopters, right, as ground vehicles. Addition a limited list of battle tasks and some battle pass tasks to existing aviation simulator battles. Exact approach can be refined later. Addition? Interesting. So, I guess maybe that's just, if I understand correctly, it's just opening up stuff that was designed specifically for arcade or realistic previously is getting opened up and put into simulators so that if you still want to grind out, you know, the battle pass or some of the regular daily tasks, you don't just have to do that in realistic battles. If you want to play simulator, you can do that, which that would be smart. You'd think that would have been a thing long ago. And that says next major updates. Battle tasks and battle pass tasks available in ground simulator battles. So again, pretty much the same thing. Keeping progress of the daily login reward in the PC version by collecting daily rewards in Warthunder Mobile. That's nice. Yeah, because I mean, I was at one point I was at like over a year of rewards on the game, and that's just like I had to go out of town, and it's like, well, I don't have a laptop, so I guess that's done. Had a really good streak, and now it's gone. So it's like just at this point, it's like I don't really care that much, but it would be cool just to be able to log in. Sometimes you just spend a couple minutes logging into the game, so I think that's great. And you know, then again, it works for Gaijin too because it's incentivizing you to log into the Warthunder mobile and play that. potentially. And I think having cross rewards between the two could be beneficial to Gaijin too, maybe. You know, not necessarily having like unique vehicles or anything like that, but maybe potentially having just, you know, bonuses like grind bonuses and stuff like that, you know, silver line boosters or research boosters. Matchmaking. Night battles are temporarily disabled with the Law Royale major update. In the future, they can be optionally enabled. Next major update. Kind of a shame, sort of. I probably wouldn't miss night battles too much, honestly. I'll have to wait and see. Oh, I clicked on that. I didn't mean to click on that guy, sorry. Yeah, I probably wouldn't miss them too much. I guess we'll find out. The update just dropped today, so we'll have to wait and see. Changing the matching settings for high rank battles in order to collect more complete battles at the cost of a minimal increase in waiting time. Okay, I'm kind of curious why or what they've changed this for, because there was a number of reasons, like I said, that they could change the settings to, and I'm wondering what they're kind of trying to achieve with these specific changes. Again, I have no issue with the minimal increase in time, even. I don't know what they consider minimal, I guess, but, you know, I really don't mind waiting too long. I am just kind of curious what the changes are, though. Display BR ranges in the map filter. Okay. Revision of the set of maps available to piston and jet aircraft for more eventful battles. Transferring some of the large maps to higher BRs. Fantastic news, because... yeah, I know a lot of players don't like the Enduring Conflict maps. I like them, but I don't like them on the piston planes. It takes so long, and especially how obnoxious the grind has been in the past. That made it that much worse. I wouldn't mind some downtime on a map if the grind wasn't as bad, but you know, it's like you're trying to get going. It's like, come on, I gotta grind stuff out here. I don't have all day to be flying to this battle here. I gotta get in there, get some kills, get some points, and then die so I can get into the next battle. Or hopefully survive and not have to pay a buttload of silver lions, but ideally actually get into the action to earn those points. I don't want to spend 10 minutes flying to the objective and not earning any points during that time because you're not doing anything. So yeah, that's great news. Improving the balance of late Cold War era vehicles when the homogeneous steel and full caliber shells to APDS, ATGM, gun stabilizers, etc. by changing the BR of certain vehicles. Okay, we'll have to wait and see how that one plays out. So that's coming as part of the summer updates 2023. Locations and missions. So Strike UAV moved to higher ranks and to allow players to have SAM systems capable of countering them. I think that's great. Hydroplane respawn system, or hydroplane respawn points moved to map center, allowing them to spawn over the friendly airfield. Okay, reduction of the effectiveness of AI anti-aircraft guns located on the fields and convoys in all aircraft modes. I think the convoys is good. I don't know about the fields. The ones over the air, like the aircraft fields, assuming they mean like the ones for taking off. And they're not just talking about like the random AA scattered throughout the map. I think the ones above the air or on the airfields need to actually be buffed a little bit from what I've seen more recently, but definitely the ones on the convoys, those things were really surprisingly deadly, so that makes a lot of sense. And if they're just talking about the random ones scattered throughout the map being the field ones, yeah, I think that's reasonable too. Those ones weren't nearly as bad as the convoy ones. I don't know what it was with those convoy ones. Those guys must have been eating their Wheaties or something, but they put in some work. Special winners trees for winter versions of locations. Okay, yeah, that's good. I know a lot of people were griping about the summer trees and the winter maps. Yeah, it's a little change, but it's appreciated. Fixing issues with bushes when shot through or after a collision. Not sure what they mean by issues, but okay. Poland and Eastern Europe changing landscape outside town in order to get rid of large forests and hills. Introduction of fields of small interspersed forests/hills instead. This will get rid of massive problems of standing in forests where no one is visible. Will lead to more active gameplay. I have to wait and see that one, of course. You know, I didn't have too many issues with the forest, but I know a lot of players were complaining of issues with that, and I can get it, but it wasn't something I personally disliked, so I'll have to wait and see and make a judgment on that one personally. To the landscape design locations of El Alamein, Aral Sea, American Desert, Japan, Sinai, Normandy, based on player feedback, removing places from which one can control most of the map, encouraging fights at closer range. Yeah, I mean, there was definitely spots on a couple of those maps where you had a lot of power if you knew where to get, and you could get up there, quick enough. You could be absolutely devastating. It was hard to counter that. Changing the landscape design of locations: Alaska, Seversk, Vietnam, Magnolia Line, 38th Parallel, Stalingrad, Karelia, based on player feedback. Plan to remove places from which one can control most of the map. Okay, and those are coming in Summer Update 2023. Massive revision of asset collision and ground vehicles. Locations are to get rid of inconsistencies of visuals on physical models. So again, this one right here, any Bruce Leroy fans will probably be happy to hear this, if not the man himself, assuming that when they're saying ground vehicle locations, I assume that's going to be stuff like fences and things that definitely were affecting helicopter pilots who were like really low to the deck in some cases. Improvements of jungles by reducing the number of positions camouflaged by vegetation, which will improve visibility and reduce the number of shots from ambushes. Mixed feelings on this one. Personally, again, this is an issue, I think, of, potato PC players, and it's not really fair that ultra low quality, right? It's the people using the really low graphics versus people like myself who play really high graphics. It's really difficult for me to see it in the jungle because I like to play with like high graphic settings, and the thing is that it is very easy to get sniped in some of the maps because there's a lot of foliage and stuff, but I think that's part of what makes those maps fun and unique. It is a difficult thing to balance though, right? Because it is frustrating getting sniped by somebody who doesn't necessarily see all the brush and everything that you see. So again, we'll have to wait and see and make a judgment on this one once I start playing this stuff, but that's going to be coming in the next major update, it says. Refinement of the damage model for small caliber heat rounds. Fragments of the shaped change gel along with flight access and capable of inflicting damage to crew in the dimensions of the fighting compartment of any tank if they are not stopped by more massive obstacles. So yeah, they talked about that one previously. Improved indication for spawn zone protection. First is a more obvious indication of hits on players protected by the spawn zone so that the shooter understands why their shots went through the protected vehicles. The second is an indication of players firing at the spawn zone. Such shooters will be additionally marked in the game world and on the minimap, similar to being scouted. Okay, that's something I can get behind. I don't think anybody likes getting spawn camped. I mean, we've all probably been spawn camped and maybe even done some spawn camping too. And I hate to say it, but there comes a certain point in the match where it's like there's nobody left and everybody's trying to get that last kill. And, I think it's great for the players who are making the effort to spawn in and do something, get a few kills. I think that's a nice change. I'm all for that. Really big change. It's fairly big change, I guess. Not really big. Finalization of mechanics of the commander's sight and tanks, adding a short delay to hunter-killer mechanics. Okay. The ability to accept an apology for a team kill. When accepting an apology, the apologizing player is not awarded penalty points, followed by impossible kick from the session and a ban for his team kill. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Let's be honest, accidental team kills happen. Sometimes people apologize. It's not always intended. Sometimes it's very intentional, but not always. Destructible 3D decorations, adding the ability to shoot or destroy, taking into account the same of damage to allies in the selected game mode. At the same time, we do not plan to add the effective decoration on the project. Okay, yeah, I mean, this one, like I said, when they first talked about it, I really didn't care about that suggestion, but yeah, it's a little detail, right? Reworking of networking logic to solve one of the problems of ghost shells, disappearing shells. The favorite killer mechanic, killer advantage in the case of small difference in time within the player's ping, limited, for example, by 120 milliseconds, between receiving damage blocking their shot on the server and the player's own shot, considering that the player managed to shoot at the moment the player sees their shot, which did not happen on the server, and believes their shot has disappeared. So another thing saying that they fix ghost shells, we'll have to wait and see, because I think we've heard that probably a couple times before at this point, so we'll see. And that's coming in the next major update. Refinement of tank and landscape collision solver in order to fix situations where a tank that is flipped on top of its turret is almost impossible to turn over. That's come in this update. Improve target hit alert on in the aircraft battles for air target that is considered shot down under current conditions, but still has the ability to hit its offender or if there are munitions on fire. We're going to add a delay on reporting the frag, possibly blocking the control of the shot aircraft after some time. Okay, well, again, we'll see. That's coming in the next major update. Or no, that's, yeah, that's the next major update. I got off for a second. Others, making it easier to report hate speech in chat, adding separate category of complaints, as well as showing the chat log that is attached to the complaint. I mean, we'll see with the Warthunder's chat sometimes, guys. Oh, man. We'll see what happens with that. And to be honest, I feel like a lot of those chat features and stuff are, you know, designed to basically just be in there and make players feel better when they report it, and nothing's really going to happen to most of those players, not without a lot of reports at least. So we've got the Lower Royale Major Update, which is June 2023. And it tells us some stuff here. So we got, you know, basically just it covers the map of when all this stuff was that they were talking about. So we have Log Royale, and then we've got another update in June. So sometime later this month, presumably before next month, before July, we've got changes to Silver Lion mechanics and various other things are coming. Then we've got a summer update, which we don't know when that's going to be. I'm assuming that's going to be, you know, probably maybe, well, I guess it could come as soon as July. I'd say probably August, realistically. Obviously, we had kind of a delay getting Log Royale out because of all this stuff that happened. Autumn, yep, and then, yeah, October, November for the final update. So, yeah, I guess maybe the summer update could come as soon as July, realistically. So that's all the changes in the roadmap, but then we still have the other thing. So we got a ways to go still here, guys. Try and blast through this. Dear players, first and foremost, we would like to express our gratitude for your patience during the past few weeks, and we diligently worked on outlining the roadmap for the highly anticipated revision of the Warthunder economy. We understand that many of you were eager to receive concrete information regarding our plans and actions to address your concerns in a timely manner. Please be assured that during this time we have been fully committed to meticulously analyzing your feedback and our own data to devise a plan of action to improve the current state of War Thunder economy. These proposed changes are not arbitrary. Over the past several years, we have been working behind the scenes to improve the economic models for the games. Have you? To that end, we have been experimenting with various new economy models internally to strike the right balance between maintaining an engaging gameplay experience and ensuring the long-term viability of the game. These models have been crafted to suit a range of gaming preferences while also considering the need for a fair monetization system that allow us to continue improving and expanding War Thunder. We have conducted long-time tests on thousands of random players by increasing their progression speed with different ratios and analyzing the long-term engagement compared to baseline. Ooh, interesting. So I'm surprised I haven't seen any videos on this. So they say they're increasing, but honestly, I wonder if they've maybe even decreased people's progression speeds randomly. Because they say it's random players, which means that this isn't like people have signed up. This isn't like probably dev server stuff. This is like legitimate live server stuff, and no one's talking about this. That's huge. Like, they've just said in here that they've been manipulating players for long time tests, presumably because they say they've been testing this out for years. They've been doing this for years to players. And they say speeding up, but the other side of that, you think, would be that maybe they've even slowed people down to test them out to see that too, because obviously most of their tests or most of their changes have been to slow down the economy. So why would they only test speeding up and then slow down the economy, right? It doesn't make much sense to me, unless of course they've been testing people and they haven't been aware and they've been slowing down. So, you know, here's the thing, guys. I'm reading into this. They didn't say that. They didn't say they've been slowing people down, but like That's what I see. If I read between the lines, it's not posted here. There's no proof of it. But logic tells me, like, hey, that's probably something that happened. Anyways, we've progression speeds with different ratios analyzing long-term engagement compared to baseline. The changes we're now planning to introduce are a direct result of these test trials and the analysis of our statistics data. You will undoubtedly observe that some of the proposed changes are quite significant. We believe they have a good chance to improve the experience for both free and premium players while ensuring the economic viability of the game. Please note, however, that we are in a stage of accelerated implementation. We had planned to introduce these changes gradually, but now we've decided to radically expedite the process. This may lead to having to modify or revert some of all of these changes if we realize that they are just not working in the live game. So pretty similar to what the roadmap said. To provide clarity, we have categorized our planned changes into two primary areas: the balancing of Silver Lions, earnings and expenditures, and the research points-based progression system. All changes are scheduled to be implemented gradually throughout 2023, and each section will include the target implementation dates as currently planned, and we will provide comprehensive information through dev blogs and articles to further explain as they are being rolled out and ensure clarity. We sincerely hope that you find these changes enjoyable and beneficial to your Warthunder experience. We highly value your feedback and eagerly anticipate hearing your thoughts and insights of the community of this post on social media and platforms, on the official forum, and other discussions that we've read. So anyways, yeah, changes to the Silver Lion economy. Improving the balance of Silver Lions. A significant portion of the feedback we received was focused on the current balance of Silver Lions. Indeed, the general rules for balancing Silver Lion earnings have not undergone significant alterations in recent years. Meanwhile, the number, variety, and ranks of vehicles have steadily increased. The numerous additional opportunities to spend Silver Lions have emerged. Consequently, the capabilities of players to earn Silver Lions can no longer reliably meet their demands, which unfortunately we did not address promptly enough. Therefore, we aim to implement a comprehensive revision of the Silver Lion economy in our game. Our goal is to increase the amount of Silver Lions earned per battle and reduce Silver Lion cost required to repair and destroyed vehicles. The revision will lead to increased Silver Lion earnings. Oh, sorry. Something got in my throat there. Oh, what was that? Apologies, guys. That was a weird feeling. I don't know what that was. This revision will lead to increased Silver Lions earnings across the board, with a particular focus on medium to high rank vehicles. So, again, they're saying that this is going to be focused on higher tier vehicles, you know, medium. So we probably won't see much of a change at low tier vehicles, which is fine. Low tiers, like I said, typically fine. Usually ranks 1 through 3 are pretty quick and easy to get through, relatively speaking. So our goal is to ensure that the average player at all ranks can maintain a positive or at least neutral Silver Lion balance even without an active premium account. In the past, repair costs were primarily based on vehicles' effective performance in battle. This meant that the best performing vehicles would have their highest repair costs, requiring players to excel in battle to maintain a positive balance. This therefore made it difficult to constantly play a vehicle with a high repair cost, with many players having to periodically earn Silver Lion by playing vehicles that had lower repair costs. Our primary intention at that time was to prevent the emergence of vehicles that had clear advantages in earnings compared to their counterparts by equalizing the effective earnings through high repair costs for the best vehicles and low repair costs for underperforming ones. We sought to enhance the variety of vehicles encountered in the game. Since our transition to a rank-based vehicle economy starting February 2022, the repair costs of individual vehicles were balanced less on their effective performance in battle and more dependent on the rank of the vehicles. This has resulted in a 1.5 to 2-fold reduction in maximum repair costs, depending on the vehicle and game mode. For example, in ARB, the B29, which was the most expensive vehicle to repair, saw it decrease from 48,000 Silver Lions to around 16,000 Silver Lions. And currently, the most expensive vehicle to repair in ARB sits around 22,000 Silver Lions. Yeah, you guys did repair stuff, but let's also not forget that you also significantly raised a lot of vehicles. A lot more of them went down. And no vehicle should have probably been 48,000 Silver Lions. I mean, like, even with premium vehicles and naval with like a 1200% boost and your whole premiums line up, you're lucky to make, you know, I would say 100,000 at this point. I mean, you can get more than 100,000, I guess, with boosters and stuff like that. But you know, that's coming in first place on the team too, and that's not everybody's coming in on first place or doing really well. And I know in naval, I personally, that's like the one area where I'm half decent at. If they play naval like I play ground or air battles, they're probably not making near as much as that. And that's where I feel like the money is at right now, and not anything like that in ground RB or air RB. So yeah, that's a lot of money for that. But I mean, they're highlighting again, bringing down. Oh yeah, look again, guys. We brought this vehicle down. Look how good we did. But they also brought the stuff up, and they're not highlighting that again. Our planned revision will mean further substantial changes to vehicle repair costs. We will not only reduce them across the board, but also modify the way they are calculated moving forward. While we still consider repair costs as an important factor in incentivizing players to assess risks appropriately and avoid wasting their vehicles, we believe a more streamlined approach to calculating repair costs is more suitable. Following the next economy update, repair costs will no longer be balanced individually for each vehicle based on its performance or rank. Instead, economic parameters will now be calculated using the data of all vehicles of the same vehicle class and battle rating, after which they will be used to calculate reward multipliers and repair costs for each vehicle in accordance with its economic rank, which is determined by the vehicle's rank and position within that rank. In effect, this means that all vehicles of the same class, battle rating, and economic rank will share the same reward multiplier and repair costs going forwards. This change will make repair costs. God, I can't talk all of a sudden here. There's whoever tickle got in my throat here, guys. It's really throwing me off. This change will make repair costs more consistent among similar vehicle types and reduce the need for frequent follow-up economy adjustments. It will also decrease the magnitude of those remaining adjustments, since the overall performance of an entire class of vehicles is unlikely to change drastically. However, this new approach may lead to situations where certain individuals' vehicles are more effective at earning SL at a given battle rating than others. In such cases, we may use other methods, such as adjusting the vehicle's battle rating, modifying its technical and combat characteristics where possible, i.e. altering access to certain shell types or adjusting reload speeds, or applying general balancing factors to all vehicles in that class. To clarify, we will only be changing soft factors such as these and won't be artificially altering any elements such as armor thickness. And that's fine. I do, again, want to point out that in the current game, we already have vehicles at certain tiers and stuff that are, in some cases, significantly more so effective at earning silver lines, if not through their actual boosters and costs, just how good the vehicles are compared to some of the other vehicles in their tier. I'm not going to go through and name every vehicle, and you could debate it based off of personal experiences and stuff, but I can say off my personal experiences, at least, I've seen certain vehicles performing much higher and used much more frequently. So again, I'm fine with those changes and stuff, but we'll have to wait and see how they're actually implemented. It is important to mention that while these upcoming changes are quite radical overall, not all vehicles will experience significant alterations. For instance, the impact on helicopters and arcade battles will be limited, since these vehicles already have low repair costs and high earnings, and thus generally maintain a positive silver line balance on average. See, I don't know, maybe I just don't really play arcade anymore, so maybe that's why, but I have a hard time believing helicopters are that much better in arcade, but maybe I'm wrong. I know they just increased the price before all this stuff happened. Helicopters were one of the things that went way up before these changes, so we'll have to see what sort of changes they actually do receive, if any. However, there will be noticeable changes for higher-ranked vehicles in general, particularly for less commonly played nations. Take the French Mars 15 in realistic battles, for example. Its repair cost will be nearly halved, reducing it from 11,200 silver lines to 5,900 silver lines, while its reward multiplier will increase it from 1.6 to 1.8. Similarly, ground vehicles ranked 5 to 7 will, across all modes, will see a reduction in repair costs ranging from 15% to 40%, accompanied by reward multiplier increases between 20% and 50%. In arcade battles, the repair costs for spags will drop significantly, such as the WZ-305, which will decrease from 16,700 to 6,500 silver lines. Likewise, light tanks and simulator battles like the STRF 9040B will undergo similar changes, with repair costs in these particular cases decreasing from 14,800 silver lines to 6,800 silver lines. So, you know, again, they're highlighting changes to specific vehicles. We'll have to actually wait and see what all of the vehicle changes go through, because, again, and this is something I said in my previous video, and this is something I've already kind of stated here in this video, they're going to highlight the positive changes, right? They're not going to tell you, like, hey, we're increasing price changes over here, though. Well, we're, you know, doing that. And if these changes are as radical as they say, I feel like some of these changes maybe are something we're only going to be able to get a feel on as the community, not necessarily even by just reading this stuff, but actually by having to play through and you know, play these missions and do these earnings over, you know, a period of time. Similar drastic adjustments will also be evident for aircraft in realistic battles. Many aircraft ranks 5 to 6 will... Yeah, okay, so yeah, I mean, we're not going to go through there. It's basically just stating more changes for specific aircraft and significant drops in repair costs. As we prepare for the upcoming economy update, we have compiled several tables outlining the plan changes. We eagerly await your feedback on the proposed adjustments. So let's we'll open that up, I guess, and we'll take a look at that here in a minute. And then there's voting. The community votes in favor of these changes. The economy update will be released a few weeks after the Law Royale update. So there is voting. So if you guys go on the Warthunder website and you want to vote and you want to participate in this, if you want to vote for or against these changes, here you can do it. There is the voting tab right there on screen right now. In the article about the economy changes. So, improving premium accounts income insurance. We aim to ensure that vehicles break even for average players across all ranks. Regardless of having a premium account, it is important to consider scenarios where multiple vehicles are lost in a single battle without achieving any kills or any other contribution to the team's success. In such cases, it is highly probable that expenses for repairs will outweigh the earnings, even with a premium account. Consequently, we have made the decision to enhance the premium account feature in order to prevent players from accumulating a negative balance. Even after an exceptionally unsuccessful battle, if your total repair cost exceeds your income, you will be compensated after the battle, ensuring that your silver lining tally for the match remains at 0 unless you have team killed. This additional feature will be automatically included with every premium account and will not require a separate purchase. It will also apply to all currently active premium accounts without any additional action required. We plan to hold this mechanic in one of the updates during the summer of 2023. So then again, they're talking about the dynamic reduction of repair costs, which they talked about in the other post, but didn't really go into detail. So in addition to significant reduction to vehicle repair costs, we have an important and intriguing change planned regarding how these costs are calculated. Currently, repair costs are determined based on the average lifespan of a vehicle. Okay, so when they're talking the lifespan of the vehicle, I think they mean during the actual course of a single match, right? However, it is evident that the actual lifespan of a vehicle can vary greatly in different scenarios. Considering this, a player surviving for 10 minutes, eliminating 5 or 6 enemies, capturing a point, landing numerous hits, and providing several assists would render a repair cost of 6,000 to 7,000 silver lines quite insignificant. On the other hand, being taken out in the initial minutes of a battle without having taken a shot or captured a point would make these that same repair cost appear significantly higher. The price is the same, but the consequences are a lot more negative. Given this disparity, we have made the decision to refine the system and directly correlate repair costs to the actual lifespan of vehicles. In other words, the shorter time your vehicle remains operational in battle, the lower its repair cost will be, but in any case, not higher than a certain limit. This information will be displayed on the stat card of each vehicle, indicating the repair cost per minute alongside the maximum possible vehicle. Furthermore, when voluntarily leaving a vehicle, the maximum repair cost will be applied as default. We hope this mechanic will make repairs more forgiving in the event of an unsuccessful battle. So what's kind of interesting about this, and I don't know how I feel about this, and again, this is something we're probably going to have to wait and feel out as these changes take effect and kind of over a period of time. You're getting punished potentially the longer you survive. So the thing is yeah, if you just get killed out right away and you don't really do anything, you'll still have to pay money. You'll still be losing out, but you won't get punished as harshly as you do now. But if you survive longer in the battle and you still perform like crap, you're going to get punished harsher than you would now. So they're kind of flipping it around a little bit. So it is kind of interesting, though. Obviously, if you are surviving the battle longer, realistically, you should be much more likely to have earned money at that point. Improvements for premium vehicles. Across the board, premium vehicles have always had an increased reward multiplier and a reduced repair cost compared to regular vehicles. On average, premiums will always break even. But on top of this, the overall increase in reward multipliers and reduction of repair costs will apply to them too. Hence, premium vehicles will earn even more. Furthermore, we plan to provide a set of backups with each newly acquired premium vehicle. This means that while players are familiarizing themselves with the new vehicle, they will have the ability to respawn at the aircraft, or if the battle doesn't go quite as planned. I don't know why I said aircraft. I was looking at the plane, I guess. We plan to add this feature in one of the updates during the summer of 2023. Revising team kill penalties. I mean, yeah, so we read this, but basically, again, read through this real quick. So yeah, I mean, there's the forgiveness for the accidental friendly fire, repairs if you're destroyed by an ally, apology mechanic. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I mean, it's basically all the stuff that is covered in the other posts. I won't talk about that one. It's all good changes as far as I can tell, though. Improved capture point reward. So we talked briefly about this, but let's read through this one. The reward for capturing a point is given to each player on the point at the moment of capture. A fault of this approach, however, is that players who assisted but were destroyed before the point could be completely captured are not rewarded for their effort. A number of players drew attention to this issue, and so we had decided that all players who helped capture the point should be rewarded and not just those who survived to the end. Yeah, there's nothing more frustrating than being the guy who captures the point like 3/4 of the way, and then like one guy moves onto the point like right before it's captured, and then of the two of you, the guy who spent all the time capturing it gets killed and then gets no credit, while the guy who just moved on at the last second gets all the points. And it's kind of just really bad luck, but it's really unfortunate, and that happens probably quite a bit for some people, I would imagine. I know I've seen that quite a few times with as much as I've played. Capturing points can at times be fairly risky, so we hope this change will help to incentivize players to capture points more often. We plan to add this mechanic in one of the updates during the summer of 2023. So I think that's a good change. And again, it's not something I was super duper worried about, but it is a nice change to see. I know it is something I've experienced firsthand too, so I'd seen nothing wrong with that change. It's something I can only see as positive. A more detailed battle-oriented log. So again, they talked about this. The battle logs following the match are going to show you more details on where your silver lines and research points came from and break that down a little bit more for you guys. So I think that's a great change. Streamlining research trees and reducing the repair cost of folder vehicles. Players naturally appreciate folder vehicles as they eliminate the need to research them in order to progress higher tier up the ranks in specific research tree. From a slightly different perspective, fewer players tend to utilize these folder vehicles. Which has a detrimental effect on the variety of vehicles in battle and leaves many interesting machines underappreciated. Consequently, this situation gives rise to additional challenges such as distorted data on their effectiveness, making it more difficult to balance them properly. Considering the ongoing expansion of vehicles in Warthunder, some compromise is required. Fortunately, we believe we have found a solution. Okay, well, this will be interesting. So this is a little bit different than what the short version made it sound like. So it sounds like maybe not everything's going to be getting foldered, or there might be something that's going to happen. We'll see. First and foremost, instead of reducing the number of foldered vehicles, our new plan is to include more vehicles within folders. This approach allows you to bypass researching a significant number of similar vehicles in each research line. Additionally, visually condensing the research tree will make it appear less intimidating right from the start. I mean, that makes sense to me. As mentioned earlier, implementing this change alone could potentially result in even more vehicles being underutilized, which we aim to avoid. To address this, we will be making the research requirement for these vehicles much more accessible. All vehicles within a folder, except for the initial vehicle, will have a 50% reduction in research cost. Our intention is to encourage regular gameplay with foldered vehicles while simultaneously enabling players to skip vehicles that don't pique their interest. I think that's a good way to go about it, or it seems to be a pretty good way to go about it to me. That way you're significantly researching, it makes sense, right? Because a lot of the times the folder vehicles are iterations of existing vehicles, right? So all the research is going into developing the new type of vehicle that you're trying to unlock, and then like the iterations don't take as long to research. That makes sense. And then, yeah, we plan to rework most ground and air research trees in the economy update by September. Reducing the research and purchase cost of rank 6 and 7 aircraft. While our goal is to compact research trees, the issue of high research costs for aircraft in ranks 6 and 7 is a topic that is frequently discussed and has been closely monitored by our team for some time. Initially, we intended to address the progression of rank 6 and 7 for both aircraft and ground vehicles simultaneously once rank 8 ground vehicles were introduced. However, we have decided to separate these events and prioritize reducing the research of these aircraft sooner. We plan to reduce the research and purchase of cost of aircraft in rank 6 and 7 in the economy update by September 2023, and we'll share more details on the exact changes in the future dev blog. Rewarding your skills. So yeah, again, they talked about, you know, the more kills you get during the match in the other one, the bigger RP bonus you get for it. So basically, if you're a good player, you research stuff faster, which makes sense. That's the way it should be. You know, it should be more about rewarding the good players than punishing the bad players, in my opinion. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Bonuses for researching new in-game nations. Currently, Warthunder features 10 playable nations, and we have no intentions of stopping there. However, as we introduce new nations, it becomes increasingly challenging to capture the attention of veteran players. They have already traversed the ranks multiple times, and therefore each new journey through a different tree becoming less captivating. Yeah, I don't think it's so much... It is, and it's not accurate, obviously. It's just the grind kills people, and it's tough to justify that grind, again, especially because you're always adding vehicles to existing nations too, right? So even veteran players such as myself who play a lot, most players struggle to get through multiple trees and maintain top tier in multiple trees, right? So yeah, they're just saying that there's going to be bonus research again. We covered this for playing different nations and stuff once you've reached top tier vehicles marked in each nation. These are our initial plans, but we may adjust them by the time the new mechanics have been introduced, and that's planned for probably October, November of 2023 is what they're saying. And then, yeah, more detailed battle log, which I thought they'd already had this in here, but previously mentioned change the Silver Lion economy section of this plan. Our objective is to incorporate additional information in the battle log, providing more comprehensive details to your earnings and battles. These changes will also cover the research points you've earned, and that will come in the next major update plan for September of 2023. So, a lot there, guys. Been another hour video, but there's a lot of stuff. I will say all of this on paper, well, not all of it, but the vast majority of this sounds pretty positive. Obviously, like I said, there's a couple things in here. It's kind of one of those things you gotta wait and see what it actually looks like, because I don't really know what to expect with some of these changes. Some of the stuff on paper just looks great, and I don't really foresee some of the ways, or I don't foresee any ways some of this stuff can go wrong. But obviously, there is definitely certain aspects of this where some of these changes aren't necessarily all 100% positive, or they could go wrong. Like I said, there's a few things if you kind of read in between the lines there. Stuff like the fact that, yeah, if you get killed in battle right away, you don't have to pay as much of a repair cost, which is great. But if you, say, live longer but you don't get any kills, and they don't say this, but that's what's inferred by how they're talking, you're going to get punished more. So, there's maybe incentive to dying faster than living longer, which could have a kind of an interesting effect on some players, but maybe a lot of players won't even notice that. So there's stuff like that, which I'm kind of interested to see. And yeah, kind of interesting to see where this goes. At any rate, guys, I've got to get going, and I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on these research changes and all that stuff. Laura Royale just dropped earlier today as of the time of the recording of this video. You guys probably won't be seeing this for a couple days, though, I would imagine, so maybe like Friday or something if I get it up on time. And I would love to hear what your thoughts are on all these changes. There's a lot of talking we had to do, and I know my monotone droneing's probably hard to follow, but I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on these changes and all that stuff. So let me know in the comments below, guys. Take it easy. I'll see you all in the next one.